Thank you for having me back. And I say back because I'm an alumni. Thank you. I came to Manipal when I was 21. I came to pursue my master's, and I was here for 2 years. And this is the very stage where I performed for the first time in my life ever. So thank you for having me back and giving me the stage back. I am Naina Sareen, and I am a full-time actor based in Bombay now. But my story starts in a very small town called Bokaro Steel City. I spent my entire school life over there, 17 years. Now, while growing up, I spoke to a woman who had chosen to move from the urban, fast-paced life of Delhi to Bokaro in the 1980s after getting married. And I always wondered as to why a woman would make that choice. You know, this life in Delhi to Bihar in the 1980s. And she said something that has stayed with me. She said, I was looking for my freedom, for my own footing. I wanted to find my own footing in a new space. And I found this marriage as that one opportunity, and I took it. Took that leap of faith and moved to Bokaro. And eventually she did find herself. She's doing what she loves. And now years later, her daughter, after finishing her school, chose to move to Delhi for the exact same reasons as her mother. Freedom, selfhood. You know, there was probably a seed of curiosity in each of them, just in opposite directions. Two different women, two different timelines. And the daughter, for the longest time, thought she's the one breaking the cycle, moving away, standing up for herself, education. But I truly believe that it was the mother who broke the cycle years ago by moving to Bokaro. And that woman is my mother, Naina Sareen. I was a very bad student in school. I'm being very honest. I was a class clown. And consistent, but 10th and 12th, both board exams, I scored 68%. And you all absolutely know what that means. That is not just a score, it's your self-worth at that point of time. It's your parents' worth. And you know, multiple phone calls coming in. Surinder, how much did she score? And my father stopped picking up the calls after a while. I was embarrassed. My mother was also disappointed, more than embarrassed. But she eventually did come up to me and say that, Naina, it's going to be fine. You are going to do well. 68% does not matter. And because she believed, I believed, and I abandoned the academics once again. It was never my strength anyway. But look at my luck. That very year, Delhi University had entrance exams for English honors. I wrote that entrance exam for English honors, and I got in. So the class clown was in DU studying literature. So off I went to Delhi, my first taste of independence, freedom, or so I thought, because I was put up in my uncle's house in Rohini. Now, you know, I spent a couple of months over there. And it happens, no, when you're moving from a small town to a big city and your family over there, then you go and stay with them. Because how can a 17-year-old girl take care of herself? Only a man can. And so I was put up in my uncle's house at an impressionable age of 17. I was literally, you know, handed over under the guardianship of a man. Spent a couple of months there only to learn that freedom was never about where you live. It's not about a small city, a big city. It's, you know, your freedom is never about the geography. It's where you are allowed to be yourself. So finished my bachelor's, came to Manipal. It's the place where I found my voice, my confidence. Got placed from Manipal into an IT firm, actually, after studying communication. Ended up working over there for 3 years. Now, by the definition of success, I was on the path of it. You know, a decently paying job in an urban city, very settled, also preparing for my GRE. So I was on the path to success that we all know of. But there was something that didn't add up in my life, or there was some sort of unfulfillment. And you know, I really can't put it in words right now, like what that unfulfillment was. And my flatmate back in Bangalore used to watch a lot of cartoons, Doraemon, Shin-chan, and I used to sit next to the TV and mimic all of them. And all my friends used to say, you do it so well. And so I started taking voiceover classes and eventually got into voice acting. I'll tell you what I used to record actually. So those customer care phone calls you pick up? The IVRs in the Karnataka zone, I used to record for them, Press 1 for English. Hindi ke liye, do dabaएं. Or, these radio jingles I used to do. ESPN, College Football Prime Time, brought to you by. So that was the maximum amount of art I had done in my life. And by now I was also 25 years old. And I always wanted to pursue arts. But back then it was wild to be even switching. And it was a lucrative career that I had ahead of me. And to switch my career at the age of 25, a woman doing that, it was just wild. I don't know, maybe now you guys have more exposure, there's more access, but back then it was wild. Also, where I come from, it's beyond your imagination to be able to, just say it out aloud also, that I want to work in films, or I want to be an actress. And it took me 25 years to even come to terms with it. But what I had at that point? I had financial independence, which gave me the agency. I didn't have to borrow money from Papa to write the entrance exam. So I wrote the entrance exam for the Film and Television Institute of India, and I got in. Going to FTII was the best thing that ever happened to me, ever. I found my people, I found my community. When I went to that institute, I realized there are so many people just like me who have worked in IT, are engineers, doctors, lawyers, and they all want to work in films. And it's a privilege also that such a government institute even exists, and it fosters those kind of dialogues which artists need. And there was a lot of competition. There were only 12 students in each department at the Film Institute. There was a lot of competition, but a lot of respect, a lot of inspiration around seniors, juniors. And the classroom space where we used to do the exercises, that completely transformed me. And it's not suddenly that I went to the film school and I came out an actor. I realized who I was. I accepted myself, all facets of myself, whether or not beautiful. And the classroom exercises, I'll give you a tiny example, in fact, of one of the exercises that we used to do. So you pick up a phone, like an imaginary phone, and you call this person up who you have been very angry at. It could be anybody. And you call this person up and say whatever you've wanted to say to this person. And the rest of the class is also there watching you. Yeah? I'll make a quick phone call to my father. Yeah? Hello, Papa. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. I had. Yeah. Listen. Last evening, yes. I had given. Never lets me speak, I swear. Hello, Papa. Hello, Papa, listen, no. 1 second, I want to say, Papa. Yeah, I just wanted to say something, yeah? Yeah, okay. Are, I'm saying no, saying. Acha, I wanted to, okay. Papa, do you remember the day you dropped me for college in Delhi? You were leaving me at uncle's house and your auto was there downstairs and it was pouring and you had to leave. You were going to the station, but you just wouldn't leave. You wouldn't leave me and you were crying like a baby and you wouldn't leave me that day. And I just wanted to tell you that that's the day I felt the most amount of love I have ever felt in my life, ever. If I think of love, it's that day. But now you don't call me. You're not interested in my life. You didn't even watch my debut film in the theater. So what is it? Why have you, where have you gone? I just want to know. No, yeah, I know you are hurt, I know. Yes, okay, because I decided to go to the film school. Right, because I wanted to become an actress, because I don't make enough money, because I'm not settled, because I'm not married, I know. So what? But I'm very happy. I'm extremely happy, Papa, extremely happy. But what is it? No, I told you. Okay, I'll tell you why I am angry. I am angry because I got all that art that I do today is because of you, because you wore different clothes at home and did plays when I was growing up. You played the dholak at home, and then you danced with us, and then we all came together, and then you stopped playing the dholak, and we all stopped dancing, and then you just went. So what is it? Tell, huh? I got all that art from you. You are angry because I pursued arts or because you forgot yours? You decide and tell me. Simple only that phone call was. Sometimes difficult. Like it's difficult to be your most authentic self, your most true self in front of people that you love the most, right? But it's worthy, like doing this exercise is worthy enough, even if it's like this, you know, with an imaginary phone call. And we have like basic 5, 6 emotions that keep recurring in our life, in our professional life, personal life. And what the film school did was, you know, it took the scare away from facing these emotions. I'm not scared of facing them at any point of time now. I'm angry at my father. I'm very angry. I have been for years. But you know, I do this small exercise. And then when I actually have a conversation with him the next time, the anger really goes away because I have let it out of my system. It's gone. You know, and I would encourage all of you to try and do this at home. And you can really do it with any kind of emotion. It's not just anger, you know. And I actually joke with a lot of my friends back in Bombay that, you know, there was some part of my brain that I started using only when I went to film school. Before that, it was never accessed. And it's true that actors use their temporal lobe the most amount of time because it's the faculty of memory, voice, language, which in turn also enhances your emotional intelligence. Okay, by now film school is over. I moved to Bombay with the same passion that I had in film school, you know, actress, and then Bombay like slaps you with reality. It's ruthless, it's uncompromising, and you realize that you are replaceable by 1,000 other people who exist in that city. I got my first role after 59 auditions. And I used to come back home and write each and every audition that I've given this audition, this audition. And after 59 auditions, I got an ad for Quaker Oats, directed by Mr. Neeraj Ghewan, who later on went on to direct my episode of Made in Heaven. And you know what the role was? My role was of a clown. The class clown got her dream job. Yeah, and then I went on to do a lot of various different roles. In Made in Heaven, I played this 23-year-old wealthy, bratty girl. So I was very intimidated on the set, you know. How do extremely wealthy people walk, talk, how they like wear these clothes? I was wearing them for the first time. And in the same year, I shot for Tribhuvan Mishra CA Topper, where I play the role of Ashok Lata Mishra, who is probably a 40-year-old woman who's a mother of 2 kids. Now, how do you get the motherhood in your body language? You know, because Naina has a lot of abandon about herself. I'm not responsible for 2 other lives. And it was heavily borrowed from my mother. And you know, that's when you go back to your memory bank, you do these small exercises to get to the authentic self of this character. You know, because I think a mother, it would show in her walk. The responsibility of being a ma would be in your walk, it would be in your being, it would reflect in your eyes. And to get that, you know, authenticity in a character, it's sometimes tough. It's like, sometimes it's no work, like being a clown. Yeah, so I went on to do a couple of interesting roles, and it's been 8 years now, and it's a constant fight. It's not like, you know, I'm working all the time. Absolutely not. I sometimes don't have work for months, for years also. Constantly auditioning, and the ratio still remains the same, 1:59, it still remains, or probably more than that. So it's a constant fight when you don't come from the privilege of wealth or from the privilege of being from a film family. My only privilege is the community of the Film Institute. And you know, sometimes when I don't have work in between these months, I go back to the love of voiceovers that I used to do, and it pays my bills. Any kind of voiceover, you know, e-learning, podcasts, anything. So yeah, and now when I look back, you know, I think back, where did it all come from? It definitely came from my parents. You know, I'm just the first generation of artists pursuing it or chasing after it. The honesty of art was there in my house when my father was playing the dholak, when he was dancing. He was just practicing it. Growing up, I have always seen my mother stitch beautiful clothes. Nobody told me that that was art. You know, growing up, suddenly this crochet business has become so big, right? People are using it for their mental health, and it has become big businesses. Our grandmothers were doing it back then, making monkey caps and sweaters for us. You know, they could have made money, but there was no guidance. If somebody would have told my mother that you can also earn money, we would have been a two-income household. Things would have been different. But I also had no guidance. I actually wanted to take up arts after my 10th standard when I scored a 68%. But arts wasn't an option in my school. I think even if it was an option, I would not have been allowed to take it because it's looked down upon. When everything else fails is when you take arts, which is quite a bit of tragedy, isn't it? It's such a tragedy that, you know, we're not allowed to identify arts. We all enjoy music, films, literature, fashion, but the very people who are making it are met with resistance. And why is that? And I would really today urge all of you, you're the next generation, please go back to your schools. Please go back to your own institutes, you know, when you find agency one day, and find these young minds. Find the young ones who want to pursue these forbidden love like art, and tell them that their dream is absolutely valid. It's worth the risk. At least give it a chance. You know, you always, like I have a backup. I worked in IT for so many years. There's still a plan I can go back to, but at least give that curiosity one chance. Do not let the maturity, the compromise, or the kind of life that we are supposed to have be a price that we pay for our unfulfilled dreams. Thank you.